And so, what's on my mind? Oh, well, we do have, goodness, it's hard to not bring up the sign that was put up on off of St. Stephen's Road. And it said it had three clowns up there. The clowns were clearly dark skinned. Um, and it had clear and convincing understanding of what it meant, what it tried or attempted to portray. And I just want to know, did you see the sign?
Yeah, I did get a chance to see it. I saw it a few times. I passed by that area quite often, and I pay attention to it. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of buzz around it now. Just waiting to see what comes of it.
Yes, for sure. And it's been talk about, taking it down without even questioning who put it up. Whoever did put it up is very unfortunate. It shows the type of class of people that we are dealing with still to this day in 2025. I think that obviously they had to spend some money. Obviously, the business that allowed it to be put up should be put on notice. I mean, these are things that in order to really sue someone or something to right the wrong, you can't really uh, do that. Recompense the situation because what harm has been done, right? Maybe some hurt feelings, maybe some angerness that have stirred up the pot. It is definitely, and then for it to be put in the location it was put, it wasn't put, in West Mobile off of Cottage Hill Road or nothing like that. Very well it could have been, but it was put strategically in an area. Um, I firmly believe that it was, it kind of goes back to the clues. As a licensed private investigator, you have to kind of, go with the clues. And just to go back into the company who allowed it to be put up, they need to be put on notice and to have to stand firm and answer to why they allowed it to happen in the first place.
Right, right, and the message on the sign. Um, well, let's back up. Not the message, the photos that's on the sign, or two colored people. To my opinion, um, being placed in a predominantly black neighborhood, well-traveled neighborhood at the intersection of St. Stephen's Road, Highway 45, some call it, and Spring Hill Avenue, what you call it, the V. There in 5 Points. Um, it's very interesting and very, like you said, very telling. Uh, the image, the outlook of the billboard, and over that, or those images, the wording of that billboard. Do
Mhm.
you think that it was targeted or is it targeting African Americans, or do you think African Americans are behind this and targeting someone else?
Oh, well, it's no question. It's no question. I mean, historically, as African Americans to market, to do business, any type of advertising, if we have the money, we do use signs. We do use advertising of all kinds. Okay. But historically, especially in Mobile, the money that it takes to put up a sign like that is going towards the necessities like subsistence, food on our children's back. It's not going to start anything. Okay, the wording on it was it's time to get the clowns out. Okay, with an exclamation point. with two gentlemen in it. One of them smiling, one of them kind of frowning a little bit. And to answer your question, it's no question. It's no question. Whoever, I mean, it didn't get put up by itself, right? So flanking those two clowns, African American clowns, it seems as if it's two smaller clowns, flanking them, and they are clearly white. Okay,
Right.
people look at the darker skinned clowns, but people are kind of missing the clowns or the jesters on the right. One riding a bicycle, holding a balloon. The other kind of standing on the shoulder or had his foot on the shoulder of the other clown on the opposite side. And so when you talk about intentional, these are intentional things. This is election season, a political election season. This is a targeted affair that I don't think people are taking seriously. Nobody's taking it seriously, right? And Mayor Simpson, and this is a non-biased show. Mayor Stimson, surely is not taking it seriously. I mean, and he still, he hasn't dropped his pack all the way. He has made some recent proclamations and dealings in the community with the downtown area and blight and the proposed 2026 2027 budget. So he hasn't dropped his pack all the way, right? So he definitely can or should have investigated. He should have basically had a statement or been saying something. I don't know if he actually has, but it's clearly an intentional thing that nobody's taken as seriously as they should be. Because if it was the other way around, right, it would definitely be of issue.
Yes, I mean, if this sort of billboard was placed on Hillcrest Road at the corner of Greenlot, there will be an uproar right about now. Not only that, it probably painted over within 24 hours because people out there wouldn't want to see that. They'll think, I mean, it's causing problems and hurting feelings and upsetting souls, and they'll be burning up Sandy Stimpson's telephone, Josh Wood's telephone, Ben Ritter's telephone, Gina Gregory's telephone, asking them what are they going to do about this sign. Who is this sign targeting? Why is it in our neighborhood? But also, now I have seen African Americans raising holy hell about this sign. I have seen, whether they going on their own social media accounts and taking pictures and going live and videos, having their comments to say, some may be in the news saying what they want to say. But you don't see any, or to me, I'm not going to say you don't see any, but you don't see much coming from the opposite race about this sign, whether it's in our neighborhood or their neighborhood. There should be some noise coming from all neighborhoods about the messaging and the imaging of this sign. And the next thing is, it's not hard to find out who owns that sign. Because my understanding, we already know who owns the sign. And as I stated, that person needs to come forward and say, well, you made money off this sign. You sold that space to an individual or a company and allowed them to put that sign up there. And I'm knowing that you are seeing that this sign is drawing all type of negative attention. And you are reaping the benefits off of it because you made profit from it. And it's very disturbing. And then also during a time that we are in, it's disturbing our community in a negative way. You
Yes.
know, uh, something should be done about it. Something can be done about it. But the
Mhm.
question is, when would it happen?
Well, you know, when you talk about strategy and strategic placing of the sign, I mean, you talk about it being in a contested district, District 2, and with that district being contested by two individuals right now, you know, I think that they're so occupied with their own um, desires, right? Trying to make it back into this into the seat, right? That the person that's still there now, that we are saying is basically the outgoing. Um, you know, it's interesting to see uh, what he has to say about it, or if he has said anything about it. But you know, without much thought, without much time being passed by, it should have been an immediate outcry from City Hall, and it was just not. You know, citizens are saying things about it, but it shouldn't be that sort of thing that would take weeks or months just to talk about, right? Because we kind of know and understand what type of season we are in, with 2025 election season, the mayor's race, the city council's race. You know, it could be somebody from here in Mobile. It could be somebody over in Baldwin County. You just don't know.
But
And
I think we should know. I mean, you're placing a sign like that of that nature on a busy road in an a predominantly black African American community. I mean, the people should know who's behind that sign. I
oh
mean, if you was bold enough to create and spend money to put this sign there, why hide behind it with no identity? I
yeah,
mean, what is your point? What is your actual real message behind this? Are you trying to create another fire uh, that we don't want or that we don't need, that we don't deserve? I mean, what's the point of putting this sign right there in the heart of an African American community with two individuals that look like colored people,
yes,
and with that wording? Who are the clowns that you're talking about? That's another question that I want to
right,
know. Who are the
right.
clowns that you are talking about? Are you calling CJ Small a clown? That's a president of the city council? Or are you calling the defeated councilman William Carroll a clown? I mean, because he's fighting to save his seat. That he feel that was taken away from him because somebody might not live in the district. Or do you try to portray Barbara Drummond as a clown, but you using a male figure to get at Barbara Drummond?
Hmm,
Uh,
hmm.
then we got a newly elected congressman that's African American, Shamari Figures. Are you trying to talk and call him a clown? I'm just trying to figure out who are the clowns and where do they need to come from? I
Right,
mean, where are the clowns at? Where do we need to remove the clowns from? Where do we need to get them out from?
right,
You put a bold message up there, but you hide behind it in the darkness. Bring some light to what you're talking about. Help us
hmm,
understand who you are and what you are talking about.
hmm, hmm. Yeah. I think it's mysterious, but like you said, it is something that we should be able to look up. Um, and they could be talking about ordinary citizens, you know, instead of talking about the city council or Shamar Figures, the second district councilman, the mayor, Barbara Drummond. You know, they may be talking about all of black people because you know
Right.
it's definitely two black figures. Okay, one has an afro, one has a top hat on, um, you know, synonymous with the olden days in the 40s, maybe the 30s. Um, it's definitely a mysterious clown. Somebody knows something, and I think that is on the people in that community, the people of that community, the people of Mobile to really find out and get to the backstory of it.
But why do this in the middle of a heated mayoral race while we're in the middle of an election? We already going through so much on a national level. And I mean, why would you create something like this? I mean, why would you do that? Now, and I understand that I heard what you just said. It could have been anybody, and this is a non-biased conversation. So I'm not defending Carol Drummond, Smalls, Samara figures, or anybody else out there in elective office. But it also could have been pastors. It could be a pastor they want out. I mean, it could be other community or leaders, or I'm just saying when whomever created this and designed this and had purpose to put this up there to get their message out, they should have directed this more towards whom they were directing it towards. Or the office or the business or whatever they was targeting. Just to leave it blank and as it is, in a wondering stage, you caused a rift in our community that we don't want and we don't deserve. We don't know who you might be talking about me. I don't know. So I'm just saying, it's really bothersome. I mean that an individual sit down, spend money, and do something like that, and don't stand behind what they done. You want to hide behind in a dark cloud, and and watch the wind just blow by with all the rhetoric and to talk about what you have done. You're a wimp. I'm just telling you, you're a wimp. I'm not, and this is what this is a non-biased conversation. I mean, I'm not on your side for spending your money, and I'm not defending nobody's side that you're targeting. I just want you to come out into the middle, stand up, be who you are, and let us know who you are and what your message is and who you're targeting. That's all that I'm saying. But it's a complete joke to me.
Well, what if it's a person of the same race as the clown? That would be. I mean, there has been talk about a cryptid message. There has been talk about a cryptid message. There has been talk about that this could be done by one of our own from Mobile. That is, it's supposed to be something that I did see earlier was that, and this is something that NBC 15 talked about, that linking it to the Crescent City Theater being opened back up, and that this could be an issue with a comedian. I did see earlier Square Tight Mike, which Uplift Mobile did do a story on his comedy show at Cali Roger earlier this year. He as a comedian had this or know something about this billboard. Now that's somebody we would just definitely need to speak with to really get the backstory of it. But I have heard that it is a cryptic message alluding to some type of show dealing with the Crescent, the reopening of the Crescent City Theater.
Okay, so if that's the case, I mean, we still need to know why. And I do understand why. If it's that topic, and that matter, we was kicked out of that deal, and immediately they came back and reopened. And the way they said it is that it wasn't like that. in so many ways. Uh, I was under the impression of that the Crescent was closing down altogether.
Mm.
I didn't think that they were just gonna get rid of one part or two parties and uh, uh, come back immediately and just reopen because they didn't want that party to be a part of what they had going on.
Mm.
Now, if that's the case, I'm not saying I'm defending whom behind the billboard now, but I'm still saying that that person should come to the open, squash all of the talk, and make it known why he put or she put the sign up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there, people will have a better understanding of why the sign is there, why the message is there, and who's he targeting. So they can
Mm-hmm.
have a better picture and an understanding of what's going on. And then we can squash all, if it's race baiting, if it's going after political officials, if it's going after religious officials. I mean, we can squash all of that. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, just come. I think if it's that reason, you will get more people behind you because how the deal was done. In my opinion, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. But if not, we need to find if that person's not behind it, still who is behind it, and we need to talk to the person that owns that billboard, that post stand, and because they profit from it, they know who paid them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so they sold it to them, and they allowed them to put it there, and they have seen the backlash that's coming from it. You know, it's time for them to speak up as well. Because you got the benefit from it.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely. Now, I'm wondering too though. Is uh billboards like that? You can put up as an exact picture of the billboard, right? I mean, if you print out a picture or advertising, they will put up the exact uh, they will print out pretty much and put up the exact picture. Because looking at it, I mean, looking at the art associated with it, I would say that, I mean, looking at it, it definitely has some type of swag associated with it. If it was done by a person, African American race, if but then again, if you think about it being done by um, Caucasian Americans, it would definitely be of bad taste for sure. But it does have a little bit of swag to it. I can say that. It doesn't have the type of overtones in previous decades um, with the bright coloring of the lips, the accent coloring of the lips in bold red lipstick, the caricatures that were created back in the early 20th century. It definitely has a little bit of swag to it, is what I'm saying. Accenting this Afro appeal, um, and so it definitely could have some relevance. If it was done by Square Type Mike, then let's hear from you, brother. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I would love to talk with you, and have you on, and you can explain yourself what's going on. But if not, I mean, we apologize to you, inserting you into the situation. But we just trying to get to the bottom of, like everyone else is trying to get to the bottom of, who's behind this poster and billboard, and what's the actual message and who they're targeting, and why. That is a big question, why.
Mhm.
And just give us an answer, yay or nay, and we'll move on.
Yep.
But we'll be right back after this brief moment, and then we're going to move on to another conversation right here on Uplifting Buzz broadcast podcast. All right, we are glad to be back with you right here on Uplifting Buzz Podcast. Now, Mr. Grove, listen, this is we when we created um, this podcast, we made it known that it's going to be non-biased. So I just want to remind everyone that's listening that we're not taking sides with anybody. We're just here to bring you the facts. And it's not, that we are taking sides with anybody. We just want you to know and have, informed information. So especially about that billboard that's sitting on the corner of St. Stephen Road, Highway 45 and Spring Hill, there in the V in the heart of 5 Points here in Mobile. But Mr. Grove, man, I'm gonna tell you some more disturbing news that been bothering me for the last couple of weeks, man. Right here in the city of Mobile, we stand in the African American community a little bit, and the city of Mobile as a whole. And as I look at all this data, we got some problems, man. We got some problems with people participation in civic duties. And that's in reference to voting. We had a big election that was really supposed to be really, really big. It was the first time in, a little over a decade that we had a chance to vote on another mayor here in the city of Mobile, and possibly elect new council members if you didn't like your current council person. You had a chance to do that. You had a chance to come out and make your voices heard and, speak your mind, have your say, hire and fire, like Donald Trump says, get them out of here. You fired. But for some reason, on election day, August 26, 2025, so many, not just African Americans, but so many voters in Mobile and the state of Alabama as a whole stayed home. They didn't bother to get out the bed. They didn't bother to go on their lunch break or after work and go vote. Man, it's the numbers is very troubling on the record. I mean, on the turnout for this past election.
Yes, it is.
Especially in Mobile, when and again, this is just not towards one candidate, but people, we got to wake up. Seriously, we got to wake up. You had one black candidate running for mayor and 3 white candidates running for mayor. The vote was evenly split, but you had 72% of voters at home. 72% at home.
Wow.
Out of 151,000 voters, only 41,000 cast a ballot.
Yeah. Pritchard had the same issue, and it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. A portion of those individuals, obviously, we have people that are ineligible to vote, people that have committed or been found guilty of heinous crimes. We have an enormous amount of people that's 30 years and younger who are just not turning out to vote. We have an elderly, a small elderly population that are not completing these not absentee, but these voter registration applications, saying that they cannot actually go. and then there's left with everyone in the middle. And they still have a big portion there that's not just not going out. It's quite the same situation, quite the same story with
We,
voting.
we did an article this week, this past weekend about the same subject. It's voter turnout. Here, Mobile, Birmingham, across the state. How low the count was, and in Mobile, the black voter turnout was estimated around 12%. 12%.
Mm-hmm.
12%. Now, I find it very disturbing that registered voters that has power in their hands to make a statement about their future and their lives sit at home and expect the next man to vote for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I found this on the web for how unexpected.
That's troubling.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we had our forefathers go out and risk their lives and lose their lives and march, homes burned and hung and bled and died for this very right that we have right now that we can use to make change.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even exercise that right. That same right that so many right now across this country, even right here in Alabama, trying to take away from us once again.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't even come outside of our houses to cast a ballot for our future, for our kids, our grandkids, our economic future, our pocketbooks, our bank accounts. All of it, whether it's the mayor office, whether it's the city councilman, whether it's the state representative, whether it's the governor, whether it's the Congress, the president, every elective office has a decision-making factor over our lives.
Yes. Yes. I think quite naturally, it's important to have voters turn out. Either way it goes, any way it goes, for any candidate, I think it's important that you do see voter turnout, for many reasons. So we urge you here on tonight with Uplifting Buzz podcast to get those ones that I'm sure at least one person that just did not go to vote. Urge them, if they're elderly people who cannot go out of their houses, disabled individuals who need to sign up for a ballot to get mailed to their home, get them out as well to fill those out, help them out, and send those in. I think that, Pritchard has the same issue. And quite frankly, now what we're seeing is both of the elections in Mobile and Pritchard in some way, somehow, with the mayor race in Pritchard and the city council race in District 2 in Mobile having lawsuits pending in them.
Every election except the mayor race in Mobile has a lawsuit. And they have a challenge. And not only in Mobile and Pritchard, there's a challenge down there in Gulf Shores.
Wow.
They recount ballots in Gulf Shores in the city council race. But if we come out of our comfort zones and take our sorry selves to these polling places, exercise our rights to vote, make our voices heard, maybe we can avoid some of this stuff. We always are pointing the finger as they crooked or they ain't right. My vote don't count. It's not. It's never going to count if you don't get out there to make it count. You have to make this in order for the results to be effective. You got to electrify the vote by casting a ballot, casting a vote. Your voice is never going to be heard. Whether you still lose at the end, you went out and made a statement saying, this is what I voted for. Not the person, but you voted for your interests. What's best for you? Not letting somebody else go out there and vote for you. Thinking that, somebody else is going to the polls to vote and you are registered to vote. We cannot be effective and bring effective change across both sides of the water, whether, black, white, Democrat, Republican, independent, moderate, conservative, liberal, it does not matter. In order for your interest to win, you have to what? Vote. You have to vote. And then we wonder why the other side is always winning. It's because we are sitting back complaining and we're not acting on our complaining. We're not getting out, making something happen. Because the power is within us. We hold the power in the middle of our hands, just going and casting a ballot and voting. And we got this special, we got the runoff on the 23rd in 2 weeks. Everybody in Mobile, after seeing this low voter turnout, ought to be excited to go out and cast a ballot on September 23rd. Whether it's raining, or shine, cold, storming, whatever, making a sacrifice. If our forefathers could have went and made a sacrifice through all the hell, the hot water they went through, that we ain't going through today, we ain't going through what they went through 50 and 60, 70 years ago. We got it easy. We really got it easy. And they died for this. They marched in the hot weather and cold weather. They were shot at. They was hung and drugged and beaten. We're not getting beaten. We're not getting drugged and hung when we go to the polls and vote.
Right.
We're living in comfort. But those that did, we ought to be appreciated that somebody fought for us that we can have this right. And as I said earlier, now, if you look at it, voter suppression, or they're doing anything to keep us from voting, trying to take these voters' rights from us. After, if someone died, that we could have them, and now we don't even want to use them. But then at the end of the day, Mr. Grove, when things happen in our lives or in our communities, we want to seek help. But if we don't think about it beforehand, that we had the opportunity to make a change when we could have at the polling place. Not when disaster happens in our community. Not when our Social Security and food stamps and public housing and public transportation get taken away from us or get reduced, or our streets not paid, and we ride down Highway 45 and St. Stephen's Road and Government Street and Airport Boulevard, and we hit potholes and send our cars to the repair shop for 2 or 3 weeks. Then we we can't get to work and we out of income. Then we want to blame Matt Simpson or whoever the mayor going to be, or Mayor Jimmy Gardner, but we ain't voted.
Right. I think that's important.
So it's very important that we get out to vote. Voting matters. Voting is important. It's not anything that we should be sitting on the sideline and looking at, laughing at. We should be taking it seriously.
Yes.
Why bother to register to vote if you're not going to exercise that right to vote? And let these people purge you from the polls, the rolls, for not voting. That's what they're doing. They see you're inactive, so get rid of this person. They ain't gonna vote anyway.
Right.
And then you thinking you are actually registered to vote, and you're not registered to vote. But Mr. Grove, another thing that's happening that we're going to talk about when we come right back. And I want you to elaborate on this. That was coming in. Several reports came in where voters were denied their right to vote, and they were sent to other polling places, claiming that they wasn't on the rolls at certain polling places, so they
Mhm.
couldn't vote. They was just discouraged or informed, and they didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
But we're going to talk
Yeah.
about that right after, on the other side of this little break. All right, Mr. Grove, talking about this voter data, and the
Mhm.
lack of participation and the low turnout in our past municipal election, man, it's very important that people understand that we could do a whole lot just by casting a ballot. And we could say a whole lot with the voice of our votes. But you know, turning somebody away from the polling place, claiming that they're not ready. I mean, they're not, on the road to vote there. After the individual, believing that they're assigned to vote at a certain location, polling location. That's troubling as well. And some folks just went back home. It happened in Pritchard. There were some polling stations here in the city of Mobile where it happened as well. And I also got reports with the buzz that it was happening in other parts of the state as well. I mean, why turn somebody away? I mean, what's the purpose?
Well, the problem, in my opinion, does not lie with the polling places. They do not lie with the individuals working at the polling stations. The issue is the state. Okay, the Secretary of State, what they did, and Stand Up Mobile, which is a nonprofit group here in Mobile, actually alluded to this very thing a couple of months before the election, and they alluded that over 500,000 people were purged from the rolls of the voting rolls, and I myself was one of those ones. Okay. What I found out a few weeks before the election was that I too was purged. I voted I voted in 2024, and particularly for the second congressional district. I probably voted for Shamari Figures, and also for the presidential election as well. And although I voted in 2024, I too was purged from the rolls.
Wow.
And the reason, and thing is that I filled out an application, and it's not that I was denied. It's just that it was not approved at the state level. I had to redo my and after thinking that I was approved for it, I actually sent in an absentee ballot um, to uh, to complete my election through a mail-in or a mail-in ballot. And the letter I got back from the city was, "You're not registered and to vote in the state." And so I called them, talked to them downtown Mobile, and they said I was just not registered. Uh, so I ended up calling the state, and they too confirmed that I was purged from the rolls due to my address, which I've been staying at the same address. Um, uh, my address, I did not verify my address. Okay, so other reasons that I've heard is that individuals were purged from the rolls for different reasons, but over 500,000 people were purged from the rolls for various reasons. Okay, the second issue is that the polling places did change. Okay. I'm over here in District 7 for years. And for years, I've talked to people that's been voting in this district for years. The voting place was over on Howes Ferry Road. Um, but this year, for some reason, or this election, for some reason, the voting places was changed to Overlook Road. Okay, two different places. And whether they sent that in the mail or not, um, I didn't see it. I just know that through research that I did notice that that's what a voting place was. So it was two issues. The state had a hand in purging people for various reasons. And the city of Mobile changed polling places all across the city. So, did you say that people are in Pritchard were dealing with that same issue?
Yeah, and people in other parts of the state as well was dealing with the same issue. And also, I would like to insert that, like I said, it's non-biased conversation. City polling places are oftentimes different from county and state elections polling places because they're administered by the city and not the county and the state.
Mhm.
So therefore, the city may opt to use other locations for their districts, their precincts, for their districts accordingly. And that those districts may be different lines that you may cast for a county commission, state representative, or a state senate, and so forth, or like for instance, congressional seats. So a lot of people may have gotten confused in that aspect because when they voted for in 2024 for Congress at Bishop State, and then the city may used Stone Street Baptist for that area. So, like I said, I don't know, the logic behind voters getting turned away, but I do know there's a lot of complaints about voters being turned away and being sent to other polling locations. In the event, as you said, that if any individual is turned away from voting for whatever reason it may be, and then you feel that you are eligible to vote at that location and that you are all registered to vote, you always fill out a provisional ballot. And that's what we're going through right now in Pritchard. They got, those provisional ballots are really determining the marriage race over in Pritchard. Who's going to be in the runoff. And now 13 more provisional ballots have come forth that nobody knew anything about. They certified the election and put two people in a runoff in a tight race for second place. And it still may not be that person that should be on the ballot for the runoff. So, like I said, voting is very important. It's very important. And knowing what to do when you go vote. You have that right to cast a provisional ballot challenging, anything that may be stopping you from voting. And they go back and say, well, that person was right. That ballot has to be counted. It has to be counted. So,
Okay.
don't, be disturbed, be discouraged and be turned away. Tell them you want to cast a provisional ballot and let them do the work. Let them do some extra work.
That's some good information. Good information for sure.
Yes, sir. What else on your what else on your mind before we get up out of here?
We do have some things coming up, and like we said earlier, the District 2 challenge.
Man, I'm telling you, that race is getting really, really interesting because Lenape posted about an hour ago, 30 minutes ago, a scenario about the race now that, even if William Carey succeeds, in getting the disqualification of his challenger, Miss Samantha Ingram, a new the seat becomes vacant. Nobody has a seat.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? The election is now pushed off until November, maybe December.
Mm, mm.
And does Samantha have a legitimate reason to get back on the ballot and win again? Because she now falls in that window and say, I am qualified resident of District 2. I've been living in the district for the amount of time to qualify and then run again. So,
Right.
I mean, it's and from what I understand, he's going to pay the $25,000 so the case can move forward. But I mean,
Well,
he's really opened up a can of worms.
Yeah, he's already filed the $25,000.
Wow.
Yeah, he's already filed that. Meanwhile, the mayor over or the contester over in Pritchard has not, or as of 5 o'clock today, they had 5 o'clock today to pay $10,000 over in Pritchard to contest the race. So William Carroll has put up the $25,000 to contest.
Wow.
So move forward.
It's very interesting how this is going to shape out. Today is Tuesday. Hey, we may know somebody end of the week or next week before we actually go into the polls again to cast a ballot for mayor. Whether we have a newly elected city council woman or we don't have a elected council person at all. And the amount of time that the next election, special election, be ordered for that seat, will she actually be eligible to run as a qualified candidate?
Right.
I mean, you extending her time, even if she's not eligible now, you extending her time to be eligible.
Right.
And she comes back and beats you again. How would that look? I mean, I know, and I know there's a lot of information out there to cipher through to say if she's eligible or not. And some people say, well, the people spoken. What are your thoughts?
One thing that we do know is that William Carroll did post the bond. However, Samantha Ingram has yet to be served. In court cases, you have to be served, regardless if this information is known or public. She has to be served. And so even if she shuts herself in her house for the next 30 days until the certification, and go to be certified, she has to be served. She has to be duly served, and it can be in the streets at local gas station, or it can be at her home. But let's just say, for instance, if she does shut herself inside of her home or hides from, or in this case, go back to Georgia. She has to be duly served, and that's just the fact of the matter.
Well, I don't think she want to be served in Georgia. But this is very, very interesting. Also, when Pritchard, the city councilwoman, filed a challenge on Friday before the deadline to challenge the vote count that's been certified by the council after discovering there's more additional provision of ballots that was brought in late and never was counted. The council was never notified of those provision of ballots. I'm just trying to figure out why you're holding and hiding ballots. What's really going on in Pritchard? I mean, no good news is really coming out of Pritchard.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, are we that desperate to win? Or are we're shutting out the voices of the people, and we're talking about getting the people excited and motivated to go vote, but you're also rejecting their wishes so that you can stay in power, hold on to office, or whatever the case may be. Or you don't want this certain person in the race. Let the people decide who they want in the race, who they want to be their next mayor or city council member, and call it a day. That's the point of elections. But this has been another episode of Uplifting Buzz Podcast, and we hope you enjoyed every moment of this podcast. Mr. Grove, I really enjoyed the conversation with you on tonight. With I hope you have done this as well. And we shall do this all over again on this Thursday. Be sure to join us right here on Uplifting Buzz and visit our websites at buzzreportnews.com and also Upliftmobile. That's right, Upliftmobile at www.upliftmobile.org. I am your host, Gary Johnson, and my co-host, Marcus Grove. Until next time, be blessed.
Be blessed.